The biggest test for this so-called broad-based government is about to come. And the person who is at the center of all this precarious and emotive moment is none other than the outspoken John Mbadi, who has been given this role of heading the finance docket. If you have been following this channel, we agreed on this channel that there could be about 3 or 4 reasons why the broad-based government was formed. And so far, they have achieved about 3, and we have 2 enormous tasks that are still waiting for them. The first reason was to ensure that they killed the Gen Z's moment, the Gen Z's protest. And they did that very successfully when Raila told his people, don't go to the streets. And I remember there was this talk in town. People from Nyanza were saying, this is not our war. If you remember Tindamolo, while giving his submissions during the impeachment motion of Rigathi Gachagua, he said that many people are telling us that this is not our war, but during times of war, bystanders also stand even a greater risk of being victims. Number 2 was to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. They did that very successfully. I have repeated that. The third one was to sanitize Ruto's very unpopular policies like Adani, taxes, and all that. So far, those 3 have been successfully achieved. But the fourth one that is going to be at the center of headlines is the reintroduction of the Finance Bill 2024. Remember when the Finance Bill 2024 was introduced in Parliament, people took part in that participation, the public participation, and people made it very clear, including experts, financial experts, that it was not time yet to introduce those heavy taxes on us. But as their norm, William Ruto instructed and coerced Parliament, and they passed that bill. The opposition opposed it, but it passed because the opposition did not have the numbers. Things are different now because the man at the center is John Mbadi. After Raila gave William Ruto 4 people he called experts, Mbadi in the finance docket, Blue Economy is headed by Joho, Cooperative is Oparanya, and of course, we have another Raila's person at the energy. So as people are headed to the next level, we are told that there are amendments that are going to really look at the Finance Bill 2024. In a nutshell, the Finance Bill 2024 is coming back. There is a challenge here. That's what I want us to really look at. This story is carried in one of the dailies, and it says, MPs seek views on tax bills amid fears of exclusion. I want us to just read. It says, the National Assembly has kicked off public participation hearings on amendments on various tax laws amid concerns over an attempt to leave out some regions. That is the first thing that I want you to capture. Now, there are amendments that I think they nicknamed them, so to speak, they nicknamed them the Finance Bill Amendments. And it says that the Finance and National Planning Committee is seeking public views on 6 bills. So they decided to summarize that Finance Bill 2024 into bills. So we have, just in a nutshell, we have the Public Finance Management, number 3. We have the Public Finance Bill Amendment, number 4. All that, and with the last one, they are about 6. Now, this is what is reported, that the committee chaired by Molo MP Kuria Kimani started the hearings in Isiolo and Bungoma, and is expected to hold 4 other sessions in Mombasa, Siaya, Taita, Taveta, and Kericho counties on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, if you look at the counties that they're looking at, what do they have in common? Remember, the headline here is saying that MPs seek views on tax bills amid fears of exclusion. I want you to look at that. If you look at the counties that we have mentioned, Isiolo, Bungoma, and then later it will be in Siaya, Taita Taveta, Kericho. They are what we call broad-based counties. And that is why some people are saying that intentionally and deliberately they selected counties that belong to Ruto and Raila, because Ruto and Raila are the fathers of the broad-based government. So as they are seeking opinions in what we call public participation, they have selected those. Now others are saying that they have been excluded. Only 6 counties were selected for the exercise on the Tax Laws Amendment Bill 2024 and the Tax Procedures Amendment Bill 2024. Now, I want us to just summarize by saying there's a member of parliament, Mr. Joseph Kimani, a Nyeri resident, claimed that the National Assembly selected areas that they did not anticipate opposition. I don't want to read further. We know the trick they have used. If they come to Nyeri or other Mount Kenya region counties, we will definitely oppose the taxes. That is what this guy is saying. He is reading me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as the public participation kicks off, it has already started with the complaints and mistrust, because members of parliament who belong to Rigathi Gachagua, that is how I want to call it, are reading mischief, and they are saying that this committee deliberately selected counties that they know they will not get opposition. Remember, after Raila gave out these 4 ODM leaders and they were selected and given some roles, now the ODM brigade feels that they are in government. The question has been, what do they gain? The answer is, what have the others gained always when they are given those dockets? If you look at the recent encounter when William Ruto went to Nyeri in that inauguration ceremony of that bishop, you realize that the ground was hostile. Rigathi Gachagua ni mtu wa ground. And you've also seen how some members of parliament are being heckled, especially those who voted to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. It goes without saying that if this bill will be taken for public participation in Mount Kenya, they will reject it. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from the fear of mistrust, what are the other fears that we have about this public participation, about this amendment bill? Because basically, these are the finance bill 2024 that have been divided into pieces that they want to bring in. Number one, because this is what I want us to look at, as I said, this is the biggest test for John Mbadi. He had been criticizing the taxes, and he had been, telling William Ruto that Kenyans were tired of taxes, it was not the right time. Now he has been given the role. One of the fears is this: MPs will not read what is contained in that bill. I remember there's a member of parliament from Central who told us that the document when they were passing the finance bill 2023 was so voluminous that she didn't even read it. Wamau, I think that is the name. She didn't read it. And you wonder if these are the people we have elected to represent us. They're supposed to read the bill, understand it, so that when they pass it, they have the interest of the constituents who elected them at heart. And a member of parliament tells you, I did not read. Surely. But who do you blame? They are a reflection of the people who elected them. So no one will read it. They will take orders from the president. That has always been the norm. Our National Assembly is never autonomous as it should be, because Kenyans have given the National Assembly to be very independent. The same way they have given the executive powers is the same way they have given the judiciary and parliament powers. But many a times, parliament has become a puppet being remote controlled. They will not act on their own. They will listen to the president, as it has always been. Number three, they are going to reduce this thing to be a supremacy battle and a show of might. Watu wa Raila na Ruto huku na watu wa Gachagua, a very important bill that they're supposed to look at, because it directly influences into our lives. They are going to vote to show that, oh, Gachagua na watu. You saw what they did during the impeachment? That is exactly what is going to happen. They are not going to look into the nitty-gritties. They're not going to look into, is this thing good for us? It is going to be a shouting match just like it was during the impeachment. So these are the problems that we fear. Reducing a very important motion into a supremacy battle. That's what is going to happen. To settle political scores, it is going to be a mere formality. Remember the public participation and all that. Your views will be heard, but they will not be considered. This is what happened in 2023 and the Finance Bill 2024. So, in fact, many people are now saying that there is no need of participating in all these choreograph, they call public participation, because you will not. They have already decided on what they want to do. Raila's biggest moment is this. They rejected the Finance Bill 2024. Now they are reintroducing it. They are giving it some names, amendment. Yet we know that all that they want, because I was reading that they are aiming to collect about 174 billion shillings from the proposed amendment bills. So this time round, Ruto has lost the support of some of the Mount Kenya MPs, but he's got the support of Raila Amolo Odinga. And I can assure you that they are going to pass this. So ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to the mood on the ground, already Gen Zs are saying that don't think that we are quiet and to take it for granted. Already people are saying that we have set a date, we are going back to the streets. And this time around, it's going to be the mother of all demonstrations. If they want, they can kill all of us. I was telling you that the ODM that got into government, this broad-based government, this is the moment they will test whether Kenyans have embraced this broad-based government, because William Ruto understands that they now have the numbers. The numbers that killed the Gen Z's protest, the numbers that took Rigathi, condemned Rigathi home and he was impeached, the numbers that allowed Raila to pronounce himself and gave Adani Deal the clean bill of health. This time round, they are introducing that which took the Gen Zs to the streets, and we want to see. Ladies and gentlemen, if they succeed in doing this, then the final test is only one. If Raila clinches the AU seat, these people have crafted an alliance that is taking them up to 2027. And as I told you, you and I are not in that alliance. It belongs to the politicians. And I've always told you that how I wish that we would kick away all these politicians and get some fresh blood, from Raila to Ruto, I don't know, Gachagua, Mbadi, Wetangula, Kalonzo. How I wish we would get an opportunity to kick all of them out, because I wish that the election that is coming would pit two people, forces of change versus the forces of status quo. That is what it should be. Do you remember how Mount Kenya MPs voted in support of the Finance Bill 2024? Then, after it had been passed just a few months, the avocado farmers started crying foul, and they were saying there were certain levies that were contained in that the Finance Bill 2024 that affected them directly. Then they started seeking appointment. They created some caucuses to look into the predicaments of avocado farmers, yet they passed it in Parliament. This time round, before your member of Parliament passes that bill, they should come back to you and ask you what you want, because they are paid with your money, taxpayers' money. You elected them to represent you. If you allow them to dance to the executive tune, you are doomed.